welcome to Combat Thoughts. I'm Robbie.
I'm Lee.
And I'm Alex.
We're going to take a deeper look at the culture and philosophy behind martial arts. How are you feeling for Polaris?
I'm super excited, especially because I haven't had an opportunity to compete or do something else now in a year because of pandemic, and like international competitions, it's 2 years almost from those that we had like few months in Sweden 1 year ago that we could do smaller competitions, and then I could get some fights to keep up with the routine, but then it closed again. And so I'm super excited just to be back on the competition mats. And then I really loved Polaris last time as an experience and as an organization. So I'm super excited to get to fight there and do my comeback after the pandemic in Polaris.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the subject of Polaris, I mean, what is it you like about that competition specifically?
First, from the athlete perspective, it's very well organized for us, how to get there, and all the other stuff you do before you actually fight. But that was also my first super fight back then. It's like 3 years ago now. And before that, I've done a lot of tournaments, but it is a different kind of, I don't really think it's competition, but it's a performance. So it's more like a show, and because it's submission only rules. So I had to change my training as well. My style has always been more like a position. I have a strong position grappling, but to Polaris, I had to change my style and my training, and that gave something extra after you have done this so long time. So I think it also stuck to other competitions as well. So I'm really happy to be back.
Absolutely. I mean, so that topic comes up a lot with Polaris, the difference between, say, a normal open tournament and a show. I mean, what for you, how do you approach them differently?
I don't know how I approach them differently, but before I started competitive sports, I've played the saxophone, I've been in the theater, I've done a lot of shows, and you kind of maybe get something extra. You are also like an actress or something like that, but it's something more in the performance or something different than in a tournament. And especially because the BJJ tournaments are often that you have several matches going on at the same time. You have maybe your friends who are checking your match, but then there are a lot of people, but it's not really public in the same way, because they are mostly the fighters and they are looking their friends. If you don't think the finals in the world or something like that. So Polaris, you really have the public also there, and you can get the support from the public as well, like a little extra.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I guess there's there's a lot more focus on you. And you can feel the eyes on you a lot more, I assume.
Yeah, and it gives you strength or something more to the occasion.
Yeah, and in terms of your preparation coming up for Polaris, do you have camps for events, or do you have camps for events? Yeah.
Not really in that way. Now the pandemic has changed a lot in the trainings, and I live in quite small town, and I'm not a full-time jiu-jitsu athlete. My day job is a teacher in a local school. So I'm now having my parental leave. So my day job now is to be home with the baby. We got our first baby in February. So she's turning 8 months soon.
Oh, congratulations. That's so recent.
Thank you. So at the moment, it's quite different, both because of the pandemic and because of the baby. And my wife has always been my main training partner. So it's mostly that we are planning how we can prepare in the best way to different tournaments. And for this one, I think we thought most that, do I really have a possibility to train because I have to take care of the baby? And if we can get someone to take care of the baby while I'm away, because Hanna is working now and she's a doctor and her schedule is like different every week. So everything is really carefully planned.
Yes.
And that's why I just came from the trainings directly here. And we knew that we have this slot here before this interview and after Hanna's work and everything. So everything is really planned. At this time we have time to train, and then it's specific for me. So in that way, it's a camp, and there are other persons as well than just me and Hanna, but not camp like that. We are inviting a lot of people, and I can go away for 1 week to somewhere else. But mostly that we planned the training just for me now during this 6 weeks that I know that I got the fight.
So you do have a focused 6 weeks for coming up to the fight. So
yeah,
but
because that's when I knew that I'm getting the fight. So
yeah, of course. I mean, I did want to ask about that. I imagine balancing it as a fairly new parent is probably quite a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. But we have done this before, just like with the working life, and now it's the baby. So of course this has been different, but it's also that I have all this experience. It's not my first competition. It's not my first super fight. I have a lot of stuff already. So now it's mainly focused to this one, and also physical training, but mostly mental training. But when I am at the club, I have to focus 100% because I have this limited time. I cannot train twice a day, 2 hours every time, or I had to plan that when I'm there, I'm really there, focused, and then I'm focused back home with the baby. So it has worked before, so it's going to work now as well.
Excellent. Well, I guess it's just a sort of a next level up on what you're already doing.
Yeah, kind of.
On the mental side of things, I mean, obviously you've mentioned the focus aspects there. I mean, how do you get bad nerves for competition? How do you feel going into things like Polaris?
I get nerves, but it's also, I think it's important to get nervous, because then it's like you care about the situation. It's if I'm not getting nervous, I'm a little bit worried. Why? Because there has been some competitions that you don't get the nervousity or the excitement. It's also kind of that, of course you are nervous. It's a big thing, and that's also what I meant with the Polaris. It's a show, so it's a little bit extra also because you're kind of more for the public there as well. And I normally get nervous in a way that it really helps me, that I don't get panicked or it doesn't shut me down. And it might have something to do with all the performance experience from the music and that kind of, it was the same there. And if I don't get nervous, then I'm worried.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything you do to specifically prepare mentally coming up for competition? Any way that you, focus yourself more?
Like 4 years ago, I participated ADCC. I was invited to the Worlds, and I was really disappointed to the result. Not really because I lost, but I felt that I wasn't there, like focused. And before that, I haven't really trained my mind in a specific way because it has come so naturally. But after that, I've been starting to do stuff differently. Also, not just training the mind in the competitions, but also in the trainings, because that's also really important, not just the physical training. And for me, it's mostly that I had to try to be in the moment, because when I'm not focused, I start to think other things that I'm not thinking at now I'm here and I fight, but more like there's someone shouting me now, and oh, look at this referee doing this. My mind goes away. So I do kind of exercises how I can be in the moment, and before the competition or the tournament, like the same day or at the competition venue, I close my eyes and try to listen to voices around. Like I am here and now I hear someone shouting, someone is walking by, to kind of connect me to the moment and not thinking something else. So that has been kind of exercise. And it's the same thing in the trainings, that when I'm not concentrating to the moment, I start to think about what are we going to eat tonight, or checking out how the other people are rolling. And I notice that I'm not focused, and it's not going that well. So it's mostly for me that the thought of being in the moment, being there, is the most important thing. And I try to train this both in the trainings and then on a free time as well.
Yeah, of course, it's important to be present. So you sort of you train that like a muscle, sort of every day you're going to training, you're focusing on being present with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and it really changed after the ADCC 2017, because I'm been natural in that, but when it doesn't come, I had to think how I get a tool to make it happen if I don't feel that way the competition day. So also training the thing which comes naturally, but not always.
Yeah, of course. More focused on Polaris itself and your opponent. I mean, do you, in terms of preparation, do you prepare specific tools for defeating a specific opponent? Do you game plan and aspects like that?
A bit. Hanna has been checking now. For example, Kendall is my opponent. She's been checking her fights. I've been checking few, not too much, but mostly the other people do that for me sometimes. Now we asked a friend from Finland as well to watch her matches and give me some feedback what to think. And then especially now, because we have such a limited time, we have a game plan specific against her, how to start, or what's the first thing, I think. But it's different in the tournaments. I'm not doing that much, because sometimes you don't know who you're going to fight, and when you know it's different fighters, or if you want to win your first, and there's the next one and of course there are some people you know more what they are doing. But now to Polaris, I'm being preparing just for her, or and I think because we haven't had possibility to fight in last 2 years almost, but in the US they can fight every weekend. I know she's fighting tomorrow again, and who's number one. So I will get really fresh material to look if I want to.
And do you look at that yourself? I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people don't like to look at the footage themselves. Maybe get their coaches to, or do you prefer to do that work on your own?
We do both, but I don't try to go and look many matches, like doing like really deep analyze. Then it's Hanna doing that for me. But I try to look some match that I kind of see how the person is moving and what kind of style they have, but I don't go into details which hand they are using, prefer to use, or something like that. I see more like the the style, how they fight. If they prefer to be on top or on the bottom, how they start, how they move, and we do both. Yeah,
more of trends in how they fight rather than they have a good X, Y, or Z technique.
Yeah, and that's for Hannah. She's doing that kind of job, and she's looking for the details and making more like detailed game plans.
Interesting. And I assume you build that into the 6 weeks running up to it to focus on those things. Lovely. And then I guess the other thing I just wanted to cover off, obviously first competition in about 2 years abroad, and then about 1 year.
First international, and 1 year ago we could do smaller tournaments in Sweden.
What should we expect from you for the rest of the year? Anything exciting coming up?
Now it's first Polaris, and as we had to organize babysitter for this one, so I don't know if I can. It would be nice to go to the Worlds in December. They just took off the restrictions, also the travel restrictions. Everything is so uncertain at the moment, and probably it's a bit harsh now when the baby is so small, and because I'm the one who's taking care of the baby now during the daytime, and my wife is working, so that's one work I cannot really take holidays from. So I think it's more to the spring term when she's a bit older and we could travel together as a family.
So not for the rest of the, rest of the year, but after that maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say for certain. We hadn't planned anything. Maybe in Sweden, because it's easier to travel for 1 day here. But we do Polaris now, and then we check the next month and next month. But springtime, it's probably easier because the baby is a bit bigger. She's not a baby anymore now, so it's easier to travel. And hopefully the pandemic situation is getting better, that they don't close everything again.
We all hope.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, look, it sounds like you've got your work cut out with a lot of things at the moment, so I'm not going to take any more of your time up. But look, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck for Polaris, and I'll be watching. I'm excited for it.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thanks for this. Bye.